Boom. There we go. And we are live. Ben, thank you for coming on the podcast. Good to see you again, virtually. You only live like up the road from me, but we decided to do it virtually. I think it's a lot easier time-wise and stuff like that, isn't it? So, so, I mean, well, I'll leave it over to you. Do you want to give a little just overview or a little introduction to who you are, what you do and stuff like that, just for anyone listening who doesn't already know?
I'm Ben Crocker from Swansea. Pro boxer, so mainly Ryan's probably going to speak about the boxing on you, and I'm a mate of Ryan's anyway, so we'll probably just talk boxing and talk general life. But yeah, pro boxer, 6-0, and a mate of Ryan's.
Yeah, and we've done a couple of FD challenges together as well, and it was about 2 years ago when it was the...
It came up on my day, actually.
It was, I was going to say, I thought it was around about this time 2 years ago. It was a 1 mile tire flip and then a 2 mile weighted run, wasn't it? With like, I think you had 10 kilos and I had 8 kilos straight after. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, it was
hefty.
Yeah, it was tough. My back, my forearms, everything was aching for days after. But you've probably done more mad ones than that since.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I done the Kilvey Hill one, which was about 0.7 of a mile, but obviously uphill, which was shit. And then the one the other day, which was 1.5 miles across the beach. But you know what, right? It's so boring doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrific. Like, I was doing it, and I think it took me... Well, I stopped a few times and stuff. I had my drone up as well, because I got so bored at one point. I was like, right, I'm getting the drone up here, just getting like a video of it and stuff. People stopping me, asking me like, what are you doing? Have you found this on the beach and stuff? I was like, no, I brought it with me. And they were like, what do you mean you brought it with you? I was like, fuck yeah, it makes it look even worse, doesn't it? So
people
it's oh mate, I was having some serious looks. Like, people they were looking at me and saying like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just doing a tire flip. Like, why?
No.
But yeah, it's that was that fiddle foot.
That made the new head. Do you do the bear crawl one on your own? I see you done that, or do you do it with Ben Wheel?
Ben Wheel, yeah, me and Ben Wheel done it.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
that one was It was between a mile bear crawl that day or 1 mile burpee box jump. And we worked out the burpee box jump thing, and I think it was going to take like 4 hours or something like that. Because if you're doing a burpee, and then when you jump, you're probably jumping like a meter max, probably not even a meter. And obviously, it's like, I think it's 1,600 meters in a mile, isn't it? So it works out you're going to be doing about 1,600 burpee like box jumps, 1,600 burpees and box jump. And that's provided you're jumping a meter every time, which you're probably not going to be. So, I thought, fuck, that's a really harsh one, that is.
I'm very glad you didn't do that one, now. That is rough.
Yeah, no, but that tyre flip one we done, that kind of, that started me off with doing the tyre ones. It's quite I enjoy that, actually. It's quite, like I said, boring doing it by yourself, but it's a really good challenge otherwise, I think, isn't it? Because it's just a full body workout.
Yeah, it was alright, to be fair. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it was, but probably just going back and we were all saying, because I was doing it with someone, it wasn't too bad. Do you know what I mean? So you could push each other as well. Otherwise, if I'd done that on my own...
Yeah, you have a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, I probably would have given up if I'd done it on my own.
Do you get people, people who come to the gym now, so Total Fitness is... What's the name of the gym again? It is Total Fitness, isn't it? Or Total... Ultimate Fitness, sorry, that's it. Do you get people doing things like that as well?
Not necessarily like that, but we get a few customers in here who do their own sort of challenges in the gym, or just extreme training. Like I got a guy who comes down here, Mike Hines. He just loves everything. He loves boxing training, running, cycling, and he'll do it all. Like today was his third session. So his third session of the day was boxing training. So he puts his body through hell. But I don't really get anyone who does like the challenges that you do or that we've done. But no, they do their own sort of challenges in the gym or just beast their body 3 times a day, like Mike.
Are you connected to the Wi-Fi in the gym by any chance? Just like I can't see the video or anything in a minute.
No, it's all connected up.
Is it?
Can you see
it's
me?
come back on now, I think, actually. Yeah. I couldn't see your face for a couple of minutes then. I wasn't sure if it was still coming through.
No. Yeah, you're still sound.
Is it? Oh, there we are. As long as it's recording anyway.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say I can imagine like incorporating that kind of fitness, like, you know, I don't know, tire flips and all that kind of stuff into, you know, boxing training in particular is probably, I know it's different, but, you know, because it's like a full body workout, it's like strength as well as like, you know, cardio, CV type stuff. You know, I can imagine it'd probably be pretty good for people doing that kind of stuff. I mean, rolling it back a little bit though. So obviously you've got the gym now, pro boxing, 6-0. So going back to when you were younger, like when was the first time you started boxing? Like how old were you and stuff like that? Can you remember?
Yeah, so I was 12 when I first started boxing, but before I started boxing, I was kickboxing. So I'd done kickboxing from when I was 5 till I was 12. My father put me into kickboxing, and I just preferred using my hands than I did with my legs, and I just wanted something a bit rougher. Sounds mad, but I just wanted something a bit rougher. So I just said to my dad one day, he'd put me into boxing, and he took me down Spud's gym in Harvard, and I still remember it to this day. Walking through the doors, it was summer. It just stunk of sweat and leather and boxing gloves, and just everyone in there just looked mental. But no, I'll never forget the day I walked into the boxing gym.
Yeah, I've been in Spuds as well, actually, like years and years and years ago. And yeah, like you said, it's a proper old school boxing gym in there. Like, and I think there's something about that as well, because I think when you're doing that kind of stuff, when you're doing like boxing, do you know what I mean? You want to, or you kind of need to really get stuck into it and like be amongst it all and shit like that. I think it's part of it. Like if it was if a boxing gym was like proper crisp and clean and all that kind of stuff, it probably wouldn't have the same like vibe to it, in my opinion.
No, that's it. You're right, and I think everyone knows Spud's gym as that old school type of gym. It's been done out recently. He has done the gym out, but it's still got that old school vibe. But like, I was on Instagram the other day, and something came up, a poll: which gym would you like to train in? And they just showed loads of pictures, or was it TikTok? I think it was. But all the pictures they shown, there was probably like 3 up-to-date boxing gyms, which was like glitz and glam, and then like 3 down-and-out old-school gyms. And I was like, I'd love to train in a down-and-out old-school gyms rather than the glitz and glam. I'm just going on boxing gyms now, not actual, you know, gyms. But yeah, I think you've got to be down and dirty with the old-school boxing gyms, and I think that just pushes you to get stuck in as well.
Yeah. 100%, yeah, and like you said, I think most of them are like that, right? In Swansea in particular, anyway, and like that's my kind of experience of it. Like it was probably been, it's been like would it have been 16? Yeah, probably like 16 years or something since I was last in a boxing gym. I think I was like 13 or 14 or something like that when I went before. I went up to Gwent and then went up to it went into Spuds like once or twice or like a handful of times, but I never really stuck to it. Just like as soon as I got boshed in the face a couple of times, I was like, yeah, fuck this, I'm done.
I know it's for some people, but it's not for others. You know, punching the bag in the pads is the easy and nice side of it, isn't it? But getting it, not everyone likes getting it. It isn't nice either.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, I can imagine. Like, what's like, you know, so how do you even, like, what's it like when you first start like getting into going into the ring and doing the fights in terms of you know, in terms of the pressure, how you feel going into the fight or coming up to the fight and then going into the fight? What's like, how does that feel? Do you know what I mean? Because I haven't done it yet. Anyway, white collar boxing's in December. Chris Ware's put my name down for that, so cheers for that, Chris, if you're listening. But like, there's probably a lot of people listening who haven't done it either, and I think when you watch it, especially with something like a big event where there's loads and loads of people there, or like what white collar is, you know, at the minute now, because there's thousands of people there, and that it seems like it would be a hell of a lot of pressure walking in. So like, what's it like when you're going into that?
It is the pressure, like the build up. I've always got nerves all the time, every time I go in, no matter how many fights I've had. On the day, I'm full of nerves. I don't really speak to anyone. I just don't like to see anyone. You know, if you're ever around me on a fight, then I'm like quite blunt with you. That's not me personally to you. It's just I'm just in my zone. You know what I mean? But every fight, I always think, why the fuck am I doing this? Why do I do this? You know, it's a mad sport. I love it, but I do think, why am I'm going in there to have it off with someone and potentially could get hurt. But once you walk into the ring and you're hearing everyone cheer, the nerves sort of go a bit. You know, they just lower down. And as soon as you get in that ring, as soon as the first punch is thrown, it's all out the window. And then after the fight, I want to fight for another week. And then after that, it's just back to, you know, I'm all right now fighting for. But yeah, no, I handle the nerves pretty well. It's just, I just tend to keep myself to myself and just try and concentrate on the fight. But there, once you hear all the crowd going, it just gives you that little boost. And once you box on the white collar now, you'll feel the same. You'll be nervous as hell, but then once you hear everyone chanting, you'll be buzzing, and then you'll be buzzing after it as well. You'll won another fight.
Yeah, you do find that, don't you? Like you said, people, once they've done it, I think most people, I mean, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say, do you know what, I'd never do that again. I think, now you've said that, I think most people have kind of said afterwards, like, oh yeah, I want to do it again. And even if they don't end up doing it, like straight afterwards, they want to, because like you said, the adrenaline rush they're getting, the support and the build up and stuff. The build up is like, it's always the most difficult part, isn't it? Because you're almost like picturing these different eventualities, and I suppose like there's that thing in your head, like, fuck, what if I don't win? What if I get knocked out? What if I slip and look like a twat and stuff like that? And I think that's all running around your head. Like, I know when when me and Frankie went to do the 100-miler attempt last year, I don't like failure. I don't know. Failure wasn't really on my mind. I did kind of think, right, yeah, there's obviously a chance that, you know, I might not do this. But I was going at it like, right, no, this is happening. You know, I'm making it happen or whatever. But there was this little thing in my head which was like, fuck, I could really like hurt myself or die on like doing this, you know, because you're putting your body through so much stress and things, and you're in a really weird headspace for like, you know, a good few weeks beforehand. And I spoke with Dan Stanley. Dan Stanley's, you know, a machine, right? So he did a 100-miler up around Breck, and it ended up being 108 miles, and I think it was like 20,000 feet elevation. Oh, ridiculous, yeah. And when me and him went for one or two runs beforehand, and he said to me, like, I think I said to him about the kind of on the lead up to the 100-miler that you're in this really weird headspace. And I think he said pretty much the exact same thing. Like on the lead up to it, he was feeling really, just struggling to concentrate, I think, on other areas in your life, because you kind of know in the back of your mind you've got this really mammoth task coming up. And I suppose that's very similar to...
Yeah, definitely. It's exact same. You know, whether it's boxing or you're doing something else, if you've got your mind focused on such a big event where you could get hurt potentially as well, you just focused on that. It is a mad feeling. And then, like you said, after, like, you spoke to loads of people who've done a bit of boxing, like, oh, I could do that again. But like when I go in there, I'm not so much nervous of getting knocked out or getting hurt. It's losing for me. I just don't want to go there and lose. You know, put on a shit display of boxing and just lose. That's what I'm more nervous about. If you get knocked out, you get knocked out. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, but it's the losing part of like going the distance and just boxing shit and losing on points. That's what I'm nervous about.
Yeah, I suppose you kind of want to make sure that you've put every ounce of effort into like the preparation beforehand, because like you said, you're leaving it all on the table then, so you know you couldn't have done anything differently or anything better. You know, not so much you couldn't do anything differently. There's always something you could do differently, but you know that you've put like your full effort and attention into it. And I think yeah, there's definitely a lot in that because, Tiff Sapan actually. So like, I think I've mentioned this on one of the last podcasts. She done the same thing with bodybuilding or like the bikini comp. She ended up winning at. I think she was second or third on the first one, and then first on the second. And she was like, she wouldn't compromise at all. Like, she wouldn't even have a fucking cheesy natch or nothing like that. Because even though it might not seem like much, it seems very insignificant. I suppose it's going to give you the flavour for that particular type of food, and then you're more likely to binge or eat more of it and stuff. But even if you just have that one thing, it's going to be on your head. It's like, I could have done more, I could have done better. Yeah. And I suppose, like you said, if you just put it all out on the line, then you can be satisfied with your performance or with your effort.
Yeah, fair play to those bodybuilders. They are strict, aren't they? The people who do bikini shows. How they go months and months. Like, I know boxing diets is hard, but now and then, I can take a little snack. But they are proper down to like their macros, like proper to the bottom of the diet. I take my hat off them. I don't think I could ever diet like they diet. That's next level.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I struggle to get my head around it because, like you said, the level of discipline that it takes is phenomenal. Like, because training, I mean, funny enough, there was somebody sent me, who was it? Lee Davis, actually. Lee Davis, he sent me a video of, I think it's like a CrossFit, I think he's the CrossFit world champion or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And he was saying that he had a coach in the past who said to him, don't think you're special. He said, you are, you say that you're working out hard and you're grafting hard in the gym. But he said every other person in that gym is grafting just as hard. They're putting just as much work in. And he said, what's going to make you different and sort of bridge that gap between you and the other people and stuff like that is what your home life is like, what your sleep is like, and what your diet is like. Because he said that's right. Where people tend to fall off slightly is, like sacrificing sleep to go on nights out or whatever. There's a lot you can make up in those areas, and I think that just really sat with me because, you can train as hard as you want, but if you're not getting the rest and the recovery and the diet, which is half the time I don't, you're going to really stump that growth, and it's going to feel like you're hitting or running into a brick wall all the time.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, I'm up Gary's where I train like 4 times a week. And it's all well and good putting it in the gym, but you need to put it in outside the gym as well. Just like you said, what your home life is like, what your nutrition is like, your sleeping patterns, especially sleeping. I probably don't sleep as enough as I should because I just can't get off my phone in the nights. But yeah, it's definitely down to other things outside of the gym as well. Because you could be training just as hard or if not harder than people in the gym, but then they could be doing more than you outside of the gym. And that's what just gives the other person the edge then.
Yeah, do you know when you get in like when you're working with like Gary or whoever now on the lead up to a fight, so obviously, training and the training and the types of training that you're doing, it obviously goes as standard. How much sort of say do they have over, diet and programming you for your diet and nutrition, sort of sleep protocols or any other types of things, like, I don't know, so like adding cold therapy or ice baths into the training or adding sauna and heat therapy into training? Do you know what I mean? Is it kind of, are those things that you will tend to just do yourself if you feel like that's something that you're going to benefit from, or do they kind of incorporate that into your training?
It's a bit of both. So like, Gary's the type, he's a great coach and he pushes you out in the gym, but then at the same time he's like, you're old enough to and mature enough, and you should be, you're a professional athlete, you should be doing this stuff without me telling you outside of the gym. But then at the same time, he does give you pointers. Like, I suffer a lot with injuries, whether it's my hands or my shoulders. So he's always giving me pointers. Do this, do that, go see this person, go see that person. So yeah, Gary does have a say of what we do outside of the gym as well. Even going for overtraining. Like, some boys might overtrain, and he'll tell the boys have a day off. There's plenty of times we've had an hard session in the gym and I'll be like, I was going to do a run tonight, and Gary will be like, you know what, forget the run. Same with saunas. One of my fights, I overdone it on the saunas. So Gary was like, get off the saunas, lay off them. You don't need them. So holding water weight. He's like, this is how you drink your water, and this is when you lower your water. So yeah, he does have a say inside the gym and outside the gym as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important because, like you said, the gym is just one part of it. It's obviously the main part of it, really, with regards to boxing, but any sort of like training in that sense. But I mean, yeah, there's so many other areas which you can kind of make up the difference in. But yeah, it's interesting because like there's so much that goes into it, and like I mean, how long do you typically get before so when somebody says, right, this is when your next fight is, how long typically is it? It's like 3 months, isn't it, usually?
Yeah, so it's anywhere between 6 weeks and 12 weeks. So yeah, I think I've done my debut. I think I've done a 12-week camp. I think 8-week camp, 6-week camp. So it's average between 6 weeks to 12 weeks. But it all depends on like the type of fight you've got and how many rounds you got. So my first 5 fights I was only doing 4 rounders, even though I had a long camp. Maybe the training wasn't as tense as I reckon for the last fight just gone. But yeah, I'd say average is probably 8 weeks, an 8-week camp. So that's just 8 weeks of strict, you know what I mean? Like, probably I didn't even socialise that much for those 8 weeks. And fair play to my missus Ashley, she sticks by me, she does it all with me.
Funny enough, I was gonna mention that actually. So I was gonna mention one, how do you, or if you like, do you maintain like a social life and things like that whilst you're training, especially when you've got an upcoming fight, and yeah, how you go about maintaining a healthy relationship and stuff like that with it. So I mean, I think like you said, they kind of, if you've got a partner, they've kind of got to be on board with you. With it all and kind of there for the journey. Otherwise, otherwise it'd probably be quite challenging to maintain it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, she is great with me. So when I diet, she'll diet. Well, she actually pushes me not to eat crap, because we'd be going on a walk. We always do a walk, so rather than going out drinking, we'd be going out having a coffee. I'd be like, I might order a cheeky brownie now. She's like, no, you're not having one. So she does keep me on track, and then she'll diet when I diet, and then. But she likes it as well. She likes being healthy. She likes training. And then it's a treat as well then for her. So say I've done the fight. We've both gone 8 weeks solid. After that, then we can enjoy ourselves. We can eat what we want, drink what we want. And it's like a reward then, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's really, really good. And I think that's rare to find as well, because like you said, there's so many... it's so easy, I think, now to indulge in fast food and shit food and things like that, and yeah, to have somebody like you said that's keeping you in check and giving that sort of extra level of accountability on top of the coach that you've got and the trainers you've got and things like that, because that is it is challenging to keep yourself disciplined, especially when it comes to diet, because I am terrible. Like if I see a brownie, I'm getting that brownie. I done it last night. I had this really healthy salad thing with like chicken and chorizo or whatever. And then I seen a brownie. I was like, I'm having that brownie. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's almost like offset the healthy food I've had. It wouldn't offset it, obviously, but it's kind of, for me, I'm a nightmare for doing stuff like that. And I think when you've got somebody there, like you said, who's going to keep you in check and be like, actually, no, don't get the brownie. You don't need the brownie. You're going to be fine after the food. You kind of go, okay. That all you need is that little bit of a nudge back into the right direction, and you're good to go. So it helps to have people like that around you.
Oh, definitely. And fair play to my mother as well, because I still live at home with my mother. She's the same. So if she sees me sneaking a biscuit, she'd be like, put that back, I'm going to tell Ashley. But then Ashley does the same. She'll say, put that back, I'm going to tell mother. So they both bounce off each other. So I can't hide. In my house, I got my mother watching me.
Ganging up on you like.
Yeah, I know. I can't get away with nothing. No.
No, that's good. That's really, like I said, it's rare to find, and I think it's so important as well. Yeah, I mean, with the socialising stuff as well, you do tend to just like not bother going. Obviously, I'm guessing drinking is off the cards, but you tend to like avoid going out with the boys all together just in case you end up having the odd pint or anything like that? Would you say you do that? The only reason I ask that is because, if somebody's listening to this, and they might not be necessarily like going into to some sort of big event like, like going into boxing and things like that. But if they wanted to train for like a half marathon or a marathon, if they wanted to just get fitter or look at losing weight and things like that, I think one of the key things that people struggle with is FOMO, so the fear of missing out, not being out with their friends when everyone's having a laugh and a joke and stuff. Like, what do you feel? How do you feel? What do you feel helps you to sort of stay away from that, especially when you've got something coming up?
So when I got a fight coming up, I'll go out and socialise, but I'll go home early. So like when I got a fight, I enjoy a pint, but when I got a fight, I'm really strict. I want nothing will tempt me to have a beer. So I will go down the pub with the boys, but I'll have a Diet Coke. But it's only so long you can have so many Diet Cokes. I think I'll have 2 Diet Cokes and I'll go home then. So sometimes I'll be like, yeah, boys, I'll come out, but I'll go after an hour. But that is the hard part. Is for men personally, I think we socialise by having pints, whereas girls, they might go for food, go for a coffee, and they're happy to go home. But I think for boys, we're just a different breed. We'll go down the pub, we'll have a few pints. That's how we socialise. So I will do it, but once I've had 2 Diet Cokes, I'm ready to go home. And that's how I socialise when I got a fight coming up. But I don't really have the fear of missing out. I only have that when I'm not training. If I'm not training and I can go out, that's when I have the fear of missing out. It's like, I want to do everything now. No, I'm not in training.
Yeah. And do you know what? That makes sense, because I suppose the magnitude and the importance of the fight, and obviously the kind of repercussions almost as well if you don't get it right, they outweigh the they outweigh the sort of like FOMO or whatever that you would have if you were to go, to not go out on a night out, I suppose. So I mean, I suppose one lesson that somebody could take from that is like to find stuff that is important enough or meaningful enough that if you go on a night out, that you're probably going to be jeopardizing that kind of stuff. That's kind of stuff. I usually say that to people if they say like they want to stop going out and they want to stop engaging in every social activity just for the fear of missing out, and obviously they're overspending then and actually maybe drinking too much or things like that. It's usually if you can kind of find something that you want to wake up early for on a Sunday. Like, so for me, I love going and see a sunrise. And I think, if I think, right, there's going to be a really good sunrise this Sunday, or there's probably going to be a good sunrise, I need to be up and down Mumbles, for example, for like 7 a.m. or whatever it is, in order to see it. So I've either got to go all the way through the night, if I was to go out, or I can go to bed a bit earlier, skip the night out, and then I get that sort of reward in the morning. And it's different for everybody, isn't it? But I suppose it's just creating that meaningful enough thing that you want to do, that you don't want to sacrifice for just going out.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. It's like you've nailed it on the head without the training purposes. So you like to go see the sunrise. You think, all right, if I'm out all night, I'm not waking up in the morning. So that's what even if I go out and socialise with the boys sober, normally when we got a fight coming up, I'll train on the weekend as well. So I still got to go to bed at a reasonable time and have a nice sleep, because then I got to get up early, drive to Cardiff, train. I don't want to be going there, knackered. So even if I'm not drinking and I am socialising, I'm still home at a reasonable time just to get that rest in.
Yeah, it is. It's so important to sleep. I didn't really... I kind of know that sleep's important, but I think there's so many like studies and things that are out there now and information about, what happens if you don't get adequate sleep. And like there's a guy, I can't think of his name, Matt something. But if you type in on YouTube like sleep doctor or sleep is your superpower, I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
There's this guy Matt whatever, and he talks about what happens if you drop below like 6 hours of sleep on average a night. And I think that the consistency of your sleep, so like the sleep time, the time you go to bed and the time you wake up, if that is like consistent, you can kind of manage off less sleep much better. Whereas if you're like sleep and wake pattern is just all over the place and it's always changing day by day, and then you're getting less than 6 hours on given days. It's absolutely bonkers what happens to your brain and your body during that time. Like, I think one of the ones that stuck with me was about retaining long-term information. So, the deep sleep is the restorative sleep for like your physical body and things and your muscles and stuff. But then I think the REM sleep, which is like the first stage of deep sleep, that's really important for converting short-term memories into long-term memories. And I think people who pulled an all-nighter, like in the study, just research it and doing all this stuff ready for an exam the next day, the people who basically did hardly any revision but then got 8 hours sleep, there was like no visible increase with the people who'd stayed up all night studying than the other group that had actually done a little bit and then gone to bed. So it just shows that like the way you can't retain information the same way when you're like having a lack of sleep. And I think even if you're just missing an hour or losing a couple of hours every night or every a couple of times a week, it takes so long to try and catch back up with that, and it makes sense then that it would weigh in on our physical and mental health.
Yeah, that's right. Going back on like saying drinking now. So I've had a couple of weeks off the gym, and I've gone out. So I've gone out, been out on the piss. Say you go out Saturday, your sleep is disturbed then Sunday, and then bang, you're back in work Monday, and I'm not right then until Wednesday because there's so much it just messes up your sleep. So yeah, sleep is proper important. I was only speaking to Mike.
He's back. I can see you again now. I haven't been able to see you for the last half hour, so I'm hoping that the video's actually worked. But it was. I don't know if you could see me. Then I mean, it probably was working, but I don't know. I didn't have any. There was no visual on it for ages. But what happened? Your phone overheated?
Yeah, so I'm in the car, but
did you have the heating on?
No, I've literally been off. I don't know why it's done that. Phone overheated, so I just put the aircon on now. Hopefully it don't over.
Keep it cool, like.
Yeah.
It's in the time that I haven't seen you on here because the screen's been off as well. It's gone so dark. Like it was like broad daylight. I think when
I know.
When you were on there earlier, wasn't it?
I've had to
I can't remember where we were now. Actually,
we were on about sleep.
You were saying about your mate Mike. Actually, you said you might have been talking about the same guy.
Yeah, so I think we're on about the same. You two are on about the same guy. So I'll have to check him out and have a look of everything he says, because it is sleep is the most important part of training and wrestling and life really.
Yeah, just day-to-day functioning as well, isn't it? Another question I was going to ask you. So it was the injury you had before was your wrist, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about... So, obviously, I know because you were out of boxing for, was it 2 years or something, wasn't it? Like, I mean, what were the two questions I've got around that, I suppose, is when you had the injury, what was your sort of mindset like in terms of getting back into training afterwards? Like, did you think, fuck, is this going to... stop me from boxing, at a high level in the future and stuff like that. And also then just sort of overcoming that and then getting past it. Like, what was your frame of mind about it, I suppose? That's
funny enough, I was talking to my brother about this earlier. So when I done my hand, I don't know, I had so many things going through my head. I thought, am I gonna, because I ended up having 2 operations, so I was like, am I gonna box again? I was quite upset because I thought, boxing is my life. It's, I train people boxing. I box myself. Boxing is my life. So I thought, am I going to be able to box again? So I was thinking that. Then it was the other side. Should I keep training with one hand or not? But I did. I kept training with one hand because, we don't want to go off the rails. But it got to a point that I think I was out in the ring, must have been 18 months. And I was just going to the gym down Spurs, training with one hand. And it got to the point that I literally got fed up with it. I showed up to the gym one day and I just really wasn't feeling it. I'd done 2 rounds on the bag with one hand. Then I thought, right, I'll go for a run, try and wake me up a bit, get me up for it. I came back, I'd done 1 more round on the bag, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I've had enough, I'm going home. So I think I took a couple of weeks off the gym because it was just affecting me. I wasn't depressed, but it was just affecting me mentally that I couldn't train. Everyone was boxing, everyone was sparring. fighting, and I was just there with just a hand injury. And so I was waiting on the NHS, it was, for an operation. But they wouldn't, they gave me one, sorry, and I was waiting for the second op, and they were just saying, you're going to be waiting a while. So I thought, right, I'm just going to have to pay for this, because if I don't go private now, I could be waiting a long time, because they were saying, you could be on the list for an operation, but then they might cancel you on the day because someone else more important's coming. So I thought, right, I got to go private. And at the time, I didn't have that kind of money. But fair play to my parents and Spud. They paid for it. They paid for the operation. It cost a few grand, and then I paid them back over time. But no, fair play. They paid for the op, and I got in. I think I was in within 2 months. After going private, I was in there, done within 2 months. I think it took 3 months to recover, and then I was back in the ring, and all good to go. And touch wood, it's been good since.
That's awesome. That, like you said, that I thought it was a good question, because, like you said, I think when you love something so much and you love doing a particular thing, and then you're getting stopped from doing that thing, like you said, from something like an injury, I can imagine it's a fucker to kind of deal with and to come back from as well, isn't it? Because, like you said, there's I suppose certain injuries, there's uncertainty on whether you're going to make a full recovery and stuff like that. But I think that's so for somebody who might be suffering from something similar, like if I don't know, they've got like broken leg, broken ankle, or done something like that, what would you say is probably the best way to navigate it mentally?
Just keep positive.
I can think of one person in mind now. Actually, he's done it doing football.
Just keep positive. It's like I've always had that mentality. You just got to keep positive, because if you think negative things happen. So obviously, I was getting those days where I just really couldn't be bothered to go to the gym, because what was the point of me going to the gym, because I had nothing lined up. But then at the back of my mind, I was thinking, if I don't do nothing now, months down the line when I am ready to go back, I'm going to be so far behind than what I already am, because I haven't done nothing at all. So it's just keep pushing, and just even if you just lower so I was going Spuds 3 times a week. Even if you just lower your training days, just maybe do once a week, at least you're still doing something, and you're on the mend, you're getting there, and it's not breaking your mentality that bad that you're not going to go anywhere. But yeah, just keep training, and if you need to, just lower the sessions, but just keep pushing on and keep positive. That's the best thing I've done.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's really good advice, because, like you said, it's fuck. I can imagine, for people who are in that boat, like if something happened to me now, touch wood or whatever, that I can run for like quite a while, or I didn't know if I was going to be able to run at the same level like ever again. Like that would really, it would take me a while to process that. Because like you said, I fucking love running. I love doing that kind of stuff. It's part of my identity. Like boxing's part of yours, isn't it? So I think it's it's an identity. It's almost like someone's stealing part of your identity, and it doesn't even have to be like relating to training. I suppose that applies for work and stuff as well. Like if you, I don't know, if you're like a solicitor or a lawyer or just working in a particular job, and you get made redundant, company shuts down or whatever. Yeah, like it becomes part of who you are and your identity and stuff. And I think it's challenging then to. Because you've got to try and like dissociate from that and actually think, oh shit, is this, what do I do now? Who am I? And then it causes all these questions to come out, doesn't it? Like, do I even want to do this anymore?
Yeah, so, that's it. Yeah, you get those thoughts, like you said, don't have to be sport. You could probably get those thoughts, can I do this anymore? Shall I do it anymore? But I know it's hard to always think positive, but I just think you just got to think positive in anything you do. You're not going to be positive every day, and some days are going to be worse than others. Something really bad might happen, but I just think you always got to think positive to just get you through it. Just get you through day to day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like that's something. I think there's a difference between being positive and being an optimist as well. Like, slight difference anyway. Like an optimist is someone who's like optimistic about the future. Like, oh yeah, things are going to work out fine. Whereas I think when you're being positive, like it's you can say, well, actually, this is a bit of a shit situation, but I'm going to try and think of the positive aspects that could come from it. Not to the extent where it steps into like toxic positivity, where you're like, someone says like, oh fuck yeah, my nan's dying, she's got like a week left, and someone's going to be like, oh yeah, she's going to be fine, don't worry about it, because that's like toxic positivity. It's just it's not productive at all. But like you said, I think there is probably a slight difference between that. But positivity and looking for the positives to come from situations that have happened, like even if they seem really shit, that's something, me personally, like that's got me through a lot. I think it's a really, really good tool to pull out the bag.
Definitely.
So other than the injury thing, what would you say, like during your sort of whole career of fighting, what do you think's the hardest challenge you faced when fighting, other than or if the injury was the main one, or if there's something else?
No, I think the injury is the main one, because I think after I had the first op, and then I needed a second op. So the first op, they just filed a bit of bone away and just leveled my bone out, really. The second op, then they put an actual plate and screw in. So it was at that point I was thinking, oh fuck, if this goes again, that's it. My career's done. I don't think there's anything they could do. I think if it goes now, that's it. It's game over. So that's always in the back of my mind. But that's probably the hardest challenge I've come across. But then going on, like, just say training camps, the hardest part is probably making weight. Making weight and not eating shit. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, how much do you tend to have to lose then? Is it quite a bit, or is it not that bad?
All depends how good I am in between fights. So, average, I gotta lose a stone.
So like you personally, like how much is it?
So average in between fights, I could put a stone on in 3 days. It's mental. But so right now I'm a stone above fight weight, but that's not too bad for me. I can lose that easily. But when I went to Mexico Christmas time and I came home, I had to lose 2.5 stones. So that was pretty tough. I fought in November, and I think I went out every weekend after. I just knew it was Christmas coming up. We weren't having a fight. And then me and Ashley went on a 10-day all-inclusive holiday to Mexico, and I came home and it was just the heaviest I've ever been. I was 2.5 stone overweight, and that's the hardest part. And it's just cutting that down. If I'm a stone over, it's not too bad. Anything more, I know I got to put the work in big time.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like even if you've got like a 12-week sort of camp, which is a longer one, like you were saying, it's still quite a lot of weight to shift, isn't it? Because like about a stone, they say, is typically water weight, isn't it? So you can kind of shift that or fluctuate it quite well. But like, to lose the rest as well, like you've definitely, like, it sounds like you'd have to graft. I've been quite fortunate actually. Like I've never, granted, I've never had like a particular thing that I've needed to lose weight for or whatever. I've always been quite good at like maintaining weight. So despite eating a lot of shit, I think because I'm generally so active day to day, and then if I don't do any fitness for a little while, I kind of crave it, and then I'll go and I'll like hammer it for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. And I just always tend to reach this sort of equilibrium, but I'm quite lucky in that sense. That I think my metabolic rate is just pretty good, and
I know, because you're
just generally active.
You are in good shape, and like I do see your Instagram stories. Sometimes it'll be nice food, and then sometimes it'll be like shit. But then you've always stayed in pretty good shape. But I just can't do that. My body don't let me. So if I could train. Well, for instance, now I boxed in June. I boxed on the Saturday. I went to Benidorm then with Ashley and Jack Reese and that. On the Sunday, I had abs for 2 days. That's it. They were gone then. Once 2 days of just eating and drinking what I want, I had no more abs. So then that's when I put a stone on in 3 days. I could just pile it on easy.
You put a stone 3 days?
3 days, yeah. Mental.
That is it, yeah.
But like you said, some of that is water weight.
Right. I was going to say, yeah, because like, to put it on that quickly, I think they say it happens with like people who are in bodybuilding shows and stuff like that, isn't it? Like, they're able to put on like a significant amount of weight in a very short window afterwards because you've been so restrictive for so long. Like, I don't know, your body just absorbs it slightly differently. Is that, like, how does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. So when we weigh in for boxing, sometimes we get day before weigh in, sometimes we get on the day. So after I've weighed in, after I've had a couple of even before food, I've had a bit of water, a bit of fluid. I put on half a stone already within a couple of hours. So yeah, I think it's because you restrict yourself so much. Once your body has then is craving it, it just holds on to it. But I think that's how I can put weight on so easy.
Yeah, no, that's. Yeah, I was going to say that's not really like, I think if I had to do that for something, I'd probably really struggle because I've never done it before. Like I when I'm training, I tend to be better with my diet, and like I will, if I see a brownie, half the time, like, you know, I'll say half the time, like now and again, I will go, actually, I'm not fucking getting that. Like, I'm gonna have some decent food.
Yeah.
Like I was quite proud of myself like 2 days ago. Actually, I went to the White Rose. Everyone had a cooked breakfast, and I was like, do you know what? I got some fruit to me, so I had like a couple of oranges, banana, ordered like a porridge from the place, and then I sat down and drank some water. And initially, when they brought the breakfasts out, I was looking at the breakfast, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was gutted. I was literally just looking at it, I was like, oh my god. But then as soon as I'd eaten, I was like, actually, do you know what? I'm not hungry anymore, and I feel better because I've had like good food where I don't feel like two things.
That's it, innit? Clean body. Clean
They I can't say. Do you know what? This morning I did have a cooked breakfast, so you know, it only lasted that one day.
Yeah,
yeah, it only lasted one day, but I was happy for that one day.
Exactly. Yeah, clean body, clean mind. That's what I think. See,
so like, no, it's true. Yeah. It is 100%. Like if I eat shit like on a given day, like if I do it on a Wednesday, the Thursday, like. It's not just how you feel physically. I think mentally you just, I don't know, you got more brain fog, like this.
Definitely.
You're definitely not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, no, I think that's like that perfect example. You know, if I've had a takeaway on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then the next day I'm like, I shouldn't have had that. I'm just mentally not there. But if you've eaten clean for weeks and weeks on end, never mind your body being clean, your mind is clean as well. Definitely agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, there's some strong, like, I think there's strong correlations with, like, the certain foods that you eat, like, I don't know, processed foods and all that kind of stuff, or more specifically, junk food, and, like, low mood, like, feeling lethargic, stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, for somebody struggling, like, mentally, I think one of the key things to change initially, like, if, you know, I like I say, eat shit, but I don't really struggle with my mental health. But I think somebody struggling with it, that's probably a really good way to get like quite a rapid change in you know, in your state. Like, it's just, I don't know, cleaning up your diet, eating less sugar and stuff like that. Because I think sugar's the one where you get this, like, obviously the spike, and then you get that fucking crash. And you're sort of chasing that, you know, that previous baseline all day. But if you're just eating more and more sugar or drinking fizzy pops and all that kind of shit, it's just going whittling down and down and down.
Definitely, yeah.
Anyway, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent now, but one of the questions I have got for you actually is another one here, is for someone who's looking to not just get into boxing but actually just make positive changes to be healthier, to be fitter, you know, and to sort of improve their general well-being.
Yeah.
What's like the most important thing for you? Like, would you feel in terms of like just shifting your well-being and what you find really sort of resets you and gets you back to, you know, a good place?
Consistency is one of them. You know, going back on positivity as well. Just always got to think positive. But if someone's just starting off in the gym and they want to change their health, their well-being, everything, just start off small as well. You know, don't jump in the deep end and think, I got to do this, I got to do that. It could be small as in, say you eat shit, you have 5 bad meals a day. Start small, take one of those bad meals out, just bring it down to 4 bad meals. So, wherever you're going into the fitness or just want to change your life, just start small and then build it big and stay consistent, because consistency is key, definitely.
Yeah, you know, I love that actually. That's a really, really like good point, and I think, like you said, consistency is something that like it gets talked about a lot. And like you said, consistency is key is a term that gets thrown around a lot, but I think people probably quite often don't realise how much consistency can play a role in your just any progress that you make. Like you said, people look at I don't know, they'll look at like the successful business or the Ferrari that someone's bought or whatever, and they see that and they think, right, well, I want that, but there's a lot of small consistent actions, as well as probably a lot of risk taking in that particular area to get to that sort of that outcome. And like you with boxing, somebody can go like, fuck, I want to get into boxing, but to get to the level that you've got to, like you said, you started when you were 12 and you're 28 now, isn't
28 week Friday next week,
20 yeah. So yeah, like you say, what's that, 16 years of training, doing just boxing as well as then kickboxing and stuff, and then it's taken to that point to get to where you are now. And it's all those training sessions. It's all those like getting up and going to the gym every time you don't want to, or through the winter, and going for runs in shitty conditions and stuff like that. And it all just mounts up, and I love that. So small, consistent actions over time.
Definitely
Good.
Could be anything with diets. Like, I know a lot of people try and stick with diets, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't lost any weight in 2 weeks." It takes longer than 2 weeks. You just gotta stay consistent. That's all.
Yeah, and it's. I was going to say, like, I think one little technique that I've found useful in the past, and I've talked about this every now and again, but for someone listening, you might find it useful, is either getting like a year wall planner and just picking one particular thing you want to do every single day, and it's small enough that you can do it on the days you don't want to, but meaningful enough that it's still moving you forward, and then just put like a big red X or whatever on every day that you've done it. So that's called the Seinfeld strategy. It's not one of mine, like I'm not going to fucking take that. It's Jerry Seinfeld who's come up with that. But also I've got this like little book. I don't really use it anymore, but I got this little book where you've got the little small squares, like the old maths school
all
the ones you had in back when you were in school. So similar to that, people just you put like 1 to 30 or 1 to 31 or whatever the days in a month, put the month at the top, and then put like a couple of different things that you want to do on a daily basis in that. And I tend to include things that I do every day anyway, so like making my bed, doing the C-dip, or just a few things that I know I'm going to do regardless. But I'll add a couple of other ones into it as well. And just ticking it off then. It's really therapeutic, I find, because for one, you're seeing all of the ticks mounting up and stuff like that. But you can also it gives you a bit of a reminder then, oh shit, I haven't done this today. I haven't eaten 3 fruit, or I haven't taken my supplements. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do that, boom, and then you can tick it off. And I feel like over time, then you can look back and think, even if you think like I don't feel like I've achieved anything in the last 2 months or 3 months, you can look at that and go, fuck, actually, I've like been really, really good with my diet, or I've been really good with this and that and whatever. And I feel like it just builds up your self-esteem and self-worth, which is really important.
Yeah, definitely. So I do something similar to that in my diary. So my work diary is full of clients. But in between clients, say I got something to do in the day, I'll mark it down what I got to do it. And once I've done it, I've ticked it off, and say I've come to the end of the day and I've done 20 ticks on my diary. I'm like, that satisfied me. It is like therapeutic. I agree with that, definitely.
Yeah, and it's a good way to build up some traction as well, especially like in the early days of like habit forming. I think when you're trying to set up a new habit, it's like a lot of the time you can forget about it. It's just easy to just, I don't know, busyness of life, you just forget about doing whatever it is that you're trying to do. Whereas if you've got that, it's a really, really good way to get started. So yeah, anyone listening, give that a go. So like the last thing I'm going to ask you actually is, so I sent you this earlier as a bit of a
heads up,
a forewarning, so you didn't drop you on the spot. So what's a motto that you live by, or a quote that's really stuck with you, or both? You said there's a few, so go ahead.
I got a few. So one of them is, most people don't agree with this, but I live by this. I think it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason, and I know some people don't agree with that because bad things happen, death happen, but I'm certain I stick by that day by day. Everything happens for a reason. Big believer in that. even the bad things. Another one is, you can always make money. You can always make memories. So just get out, live your life. Don't stress about the money. Just go make some memories. I'm a big believer in that. You can ask Ashley and the boys. I always say that's one of my sayings. But it's not mine personally. Someone's probably said it before.
Yeah.
And then just going back on another positivity one. Just always stay positive. Like, even in the bad things, just think positive. Otherwise, if you think negative attracts. And this could go back to money. It's like, oh, you know, I haven't got money to do this, I haven't got money to do that. Just think positive. Think about earning money. Think about getting this, getting that. And it'll attract it. You know, like a lot of spiritual people believe in like the universe and stuff. And, you know, I believe in some of that. It's like if you're attracting negativity or thinking negativity, you're going to attract negativity. So just always think positive as well. And that's another one I stick by. No matter how bad your day is, just keep positive.
Yeah, that's perfect. And like, I'm with you on that last one there, 100%. So there's when you said it, then it just reminded me. I think it was Alan Watts. So like, he's dead now actually, but he was a philosopher sort of guy. Philosopher? That's the right word, isn't it?
That's the word. Yeah.
Philosopher. I don't know why it sounded weird when I said it. Then I just didn't know. I think I had the right one. But he said that one of the great paradoxes of life is that the more you chase something, the further away it gets. It was something to that tune. So like, it's pretty much what you said there about money, or, you know, I think it's the same with relationships and finding love and stuff like that. It's finding, you know, I don't know, finding something that, like a job that fulfills you to a certain extent. If you're, you know, if you're constantly searching for something, like, but what you're really doing is sending a sort of signal out to the universe or to your subconscious that you don't already have it. So like, you know, if you use money as the example, like you said, if you're saying I want £1 million in the bank, what you're really saying, no, actually it's a bad example, but you're saying I want more money. Yeah. If you're saying I want more money, what you're really saying is I don't have enough. Or I don't have as much as I'd want. So really what you're doing is dwelling on that particular thought, or that, you know, preemptive thought, whatever the expression is, or predominant thought, and like you said, you're going to attract more of that stuff that you don't want. And I feel like if you look at someone who's always seems to have drama in their life and loads of stuff like just happening, it's interesting because you kind of look at that and you go, well, how is all that stuff happening? And like you said, I think sometimes if you're in this particular headspace, you tend to just look for it. You're in a really like defensive, you know, primitive state almost, where you're just looking for the danger.
Definitely.
And there's always going to be stuff that's happening there, and it's just I think if you're in a pretty good place, you can usually just ignore it or deal with it in a way that doesn't create more drama. So I think that all starts with, like you said, how you're thinking and just sort of maintaining that positive, you know, positive thoughts. So you're not letting them run away with you.
Because, well, my missus Ashley, she's probably the worst to get a slightest little thing can affect her. It's nothing. It could be something so small, but then that'll affect her day. And so I just always try to say to her, just, you know, don't worry about it, man. It's nothing. Just think positive. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Because if you keep thinking negative, more bad things are going to happen to you today. So just keep positive. Keep thinking good things.
100%. No, I love that, and I think that's a nice little way to end it on as well. So, no, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you very much.
No worries.
You've been working all day, and it's like 20 to 9 in the night now. So,
no problem.
I appreciate that, man. Do you want to just before we finish up? Do you want to put your your social media for the business and for your your personal Instagram and all that kind of stuff, so people can get in touch or follow your stuff?
Yeah. So my Instagram is my personal one, BenCrocker.94, I'm sure it's that. And then my business one for my gym is Ultimate Fitness, one word on Instagram. Just jump on it, give me a follow. If you want to get into training or boxing or any type of training, just give me a message and we'll go from there.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that, man. And I'll be definitely down to do some training with you soon.
Yeah,
ready for white collar. So I'm gonna need to get the sessions in. Yeah, let's do it. Game. No, I appreciate that, man. Have a good night, right? Thank you.
Yeah, and you. Nice one, right? Speak soon.